This is Jane Johnson and Bill Brady doing a Facebook Live on June 23rd, 2021. Our topic is operating as light, L-I-G-H-T. I'm interviewing Jane today. So Jane, do you have anything you want to say before I ask my first question?
Yes, let's, as we're waiting for people to come, welcome everyone. What an honor to be with you today, and we honor your journey such that you are hungering for this, that you are walking with us. And today's light topic is just so close to my heart. It's been a journey for quite a while now, and one of the ways of functioning that I absolutely adore, I feel such freedom in. And I sense today that there's a flow. Heaven wants to release a flow in you to crave operating in the age of light, and as a light functions, and as a light being, because that's what you are. So just begin to open up all your gates. Imagine all your gates are wide open, that there's absolutely no blockage whatsoever. You're like a complete window, circles and circles of windows that don't have any doors, because you're not blocking anything. And you're releasing the flow, and you're craving this, and you're engaging all the beings in heaven to assist you to operate out of these functions. And awesome. as you do that, I feel led to lead you into an activation. This is one of the more early ones I had years and years ago. I've been doing this now years. And I have many more advanced ones now, but I felt led to just bring you the most basic one so that it wouldn't overwhelm you. Because we were originally created as light, and the light shone through us really strongly. But the fall hid that understanding. And I do understand from another teacher that we originally had one layer of skin, and somehow for the fall it became 3, and so that the light doesn't flow through us as easily. But we go back to how we were originally created. So see within you, because we know that when you're conceived, there's a flash of light. Scientists have proven that. So see within you a light glowing internally. And your goal is to get that light from internal so much to the edge of your skin that you look or see yourself initially in heavenly encounters as translucent. And that light is healing everything, is causing your frequencies to shoot up massively. All the other protocols you don't have to do if you go to this age of light operating. Not to say that there's no value in those lower protocols, because we go up and down with the ages. So you don't have to do linearly all the lower ages. If you're struggling and saying, oh, but I'm not there yet, I'm only at the courts, it doesn't matter, because by bouncing up and down the ages, you're seeing what's possible, and you're getting a hunger. It's sowing a seed to keep moving and not taking camp in those lower ages. If you don't see this age of light, you may well just repeat protocol over and over again in a particular age. So hunger after this. This has the most greatest potential for change. So as you set your desire, see the light going stronger and stronger. And the intensity is turning up. And the light is beginning to consume all your body. And it's getting to the point where you're at, it's going into the organs and the blood, because your blood is congealed light. So you want to uncongeal your blood, that it flows as light. So increase your desire that it goes through all the areas. And if you've got a particular health problem, you could see the light intensely, focus on that area. Bring the light. This is like a med bed that is just going to transform you without all these other older methods. Because we want to transform from the inside out. External things have a value, but they're of a lower intensity than if the frequency comes from within. You can also command the angels to take this light and use the light to heal internally. This is a way of possessing like the white light body, or starting off with the transfiguration body, which is half the full white light body. I'm currently understanding that to be, which could change. I can feel the warmth, I can feel the glow. I can feel hope. It's so easy as well. It's not intense protocol of learning this and that, and allow yourself to flow in it. And if you're struggling with that, choose to allow yourself to be in imagination. It's completely legitimate to be in imagination, because the imagination initiates the encounter. Then look around. Look around your body. Do you feel this desire to become everything that you were intended to be? A full light being. Because your spirit knows who it was. It's your soul that's fighting. No, I'm not that way. I'm not that way. Your spirit is on the outside. So you're like getting to that point where you see that actually you are glowing all white outside. And you can see yourself as a white light body in an encounter. But this is a kind of way of feeling it internally. And the other way you can do it is actually just see light on the outside and penetrating deeper and deeper through the skin. I'm seeing you can do it both ways. So just to give you a bit of theology background on why light? Bill, do you want to just share the two kinds of light?
Well, there's two kinds of light that I'm seeing us functioning in. One is functioning in light as Yeshua, which is when he said, "I am the light of the world." And that has to do with the light shining in the darkness, and the darkness does not understand the light. And that light actually is life. So the scripture speaks about in him was life, and that life was the light of the world, or is the light of the world. I see it as a governmental function with reference to pushing back darkness. There's two kinds of darknesses. The one kind of darkness is evil, and the second kind of darkness is hidden mystery. Truth is still hidden in mystery. So there's the light he's light with respect to the world, and this is light with respect to darkness, and there's a pushing back of the darkness. The second one that I see is a higher form of light, and actually came, well, I'm not sure I can even say that, but anyway, let's just say it's God light. So the scripture says that God is light, and in him is no darkness. And this light I see as Genesis chapter 1, I think it's verse 3, let there be light. This is light that's shone out before there even was the kind of darkness that the world is, before man became part of it, before Adam's fall, let's say. So two kinds of light that I see is one is God's light, which is let there be light, which is part of creation, and sometimes it's called creative light. Then there's this other kind of light that I see as a governmental function that pushes back the world, because there's the kingdom of light and kingdom of darkness, and there's the sons of light and the sons of the darkness, and so on. I sense that governmentally, and I sense a governmental pushing back of darkness, and I can sense doing that geographically in a particular area on the earth. In a larger sense, bigger picture sense, it's worldwide. So did that answer your question to somewhat, Jane?
Yes, yes. And also I would just add a very simple one. We are the light of the world.
Yeah,
and so we see ourselves, we're illuminations, that basically we were, before we had a body, we were light without a body. And therefore, when we can step into I'm the light of the world, it's way more than, shining your light for evangelism. It's everything you could think of, any function. And also Yeshua is the way, the truth, the resurrection, the life, and the light.
Yes.
He says, I'm the light of the world. So this is another reason why this is important. Let's move beyond just Yeshua is the way, the truth, and the life. This is why this age of light, I'm actually getting revelation, is much lower than I thought it was initially. Initially, I thought it was one of the highest ages, and something that you move to, when you've been doing this a long time. Now I'm saying no. If we're actually moving from the Holy Spirit functions to then the Son's, Yeshua's functions before the Father's functions, then the light must come in quite early in our journey.
Yeah. I think that light actually sums up Yeshua's functions as the Son. So way, truth, resurrection, life, light going upward. So light is actually like the sum of all the previous four names. And I wanted to ask you, Jane, how do you see that light in your experience, I mean, theologically, but especially experientially by encounter, how does flow relate to light? Because my sense is that there is a great flow in functioning as light.
Well, I think you can't function as light without allowing flow in encounter, because light is so fluid, so changing, so it's almost like, to be light, you have to do it in encounter. You can't just learn a protocol and step into it and do it. It kind of it ignites something that then gives you such a desire for flow and encounter, because it's so magical. You know how insects are drawn to the light. You know how, like, supposedly when we die, people see the light, they're drawn to it. It's like that. It's once you get the taste for it, you want to be there, because it's so, yeah, it's so ecstatic. It's magnetic. You know, it draws you in, and I think it also probably causes you to have hunger for who you were before you had a body. Whereas before that, you're probably thinking, oh, that's all a bit freaky, and, you know, maybe the theology is wrong, and, you know, I don't want to call myself a light being because that's what New Age call themselves. I think we just have to get over that. You know, that theologically it's pretty sound, and we somehow, there is a huge cultural issue with calling ourselves a light being, but I think that will change very, very quickly in future generations.
I agree.
Does
I
that
can see
answer?
that as you're saying that.
Yeah.
I can see that. Do you? I wanted to ask you also, as these questions are coming to me as we've been talking. Do you feel more alive when you're functioning as light than you do when you're not functioning as light?
I mean, yes, to a point. I mean, it's not to say other things don't make me feel alive. Like the dance floor makes me feel so alive, particularly if I do it in creation, like I'm on the beach in my favorite environment, crashing waves, and I'm dancing and I'm twirling. Often I'll twirl on the beach. I feel so alive then. And I'm getting the sound of living waters, because that's the name, one of the names of Father. And so I can feel it all around way more than I can in just a spiritual encounter.
Yep.
But certainly it's it's high up there.
Okay.
But as I'm seeing there are higher ages, I think there's going to be way more than this. And because to transfiguration now just coming to me, transfiguration we're seeing as one of the capstone of an age of peace. So if that's part of light, but then the age of light, say, comes after the age of, not the age of rest.
Yep. So
if the age of light, say, comes after the age of rest, then it shows you that you've got to begin your transfiguration encounters fairly early on. And if you want to do what Yeshua did, he transfigured on the Mount of Transfiguration. So you can go there as an encounter. And personally, I kind of feel that it's really key for everyone to do that.
Yeah, I agree.
It takes a while to really get into it. And if you've never done a journey with bodies, begin that journey, because that again is something that if you run parallel with all your other thrones and courts, and you will do this multiple full journey and begin to see yourself as these different types of bodies. And I think I probably started doing the body journey quite early on, and could see many different bodies, the gold, and eventually, as I engaged the seven spirits so much, they became totally activated in my life. on an ongoing basis, I could easily see myself as the rainbow body, because they have each of the different colors, and the rainbow body is it's a light form of body. It's so fun. And if you've got issues with being childlike, it's going to push you to allow yourself to be childlike and be silly as a rainbow body. And I can
Okay.
see and I can feel in the spirit, there are many, particularly those that are not strong on emotion, that will not allow themselves to become these bodies.
I can see
And
that.
they would just steer towards the things they feel comfortable with. But the journey is more to go with what you're not comfortable with than what you are. You become stronger that way.
I see a common thread of flow in all that you're talking about. When you talked about the beach and the water and so on, and that you could really do a dance floor there. That was all flow that you were talking about in the environment, and also in the encounter that you're having in that environment. It's all got to do with flow. And I can see where being childlike has to do with flow as well. I mean, children play games, and they're physical games. I mean, they're not playing chess or something. They're playing Ring Around the Rosie or something that involves physical activity. It involves flow, and childlike. And so, and by the way, there's a difference between being childlike and being childish. Being childish is when you're acting too young for your age. Being childlike is what gets you into all kinds of places in heavenly realms and gets you all kinds of functions. Childlike faith, childlike trust, the ability to just let yourself go and do a dance floor encounter and not be embarrassed about it. Not being, I mean, there's nothing wrong with being adult in the sense of being mature, but being adult in the sense of being inhibited from being childlike is a problem. I speak from experience, and I know you're well aware of that, Jane. Very, very, very good about flow. Anything further you want to talk to us about in this general area? This is really very, very helpful. Oh, I wanted to mention too, just briefly, I see that there's kind of two categories of people in heavenly realms. There's the ones that are really strong on position and names and thrones and so on, and there's others that are really, really strong on encounter. And each of us has need of one another, and each of us has need of having more experience in whichever area we are less experienced and comfortable in, to balance us out. So each of us individually has a need to come into a place of being more balanced of the two aspects. But as a body, we honor each other and the two aspects. I love functioning with folks in encounter that have more of a encounter flow experience than I do, just because it enhances my experience and draws me more into that. So for example, the activation we had at the very beginning, you got me flowing very much in light. I could feel the circulation going on in me that hadn't been there the moment before you started that activation. So, and I particularly honor you, Jane, for having done a journey with flow and encounter at the heart of what you're doing, and for all the governmental actions that you've done on behalf of myself and the house and the universal house as a whole, through encounter, and because of your deep desire to pursue this, all that you've forerun for us by doing that. Anything else you want? We're just about at 25 minutes. You're very welcome.
Yeah, I would like to just share some higher encounters. If you, any of these topics, if you search in our website the topic, you can find a page. We'll put light in. There's a light page, and just to sow the seed for and either to even explain encounters you may have had, or to allow your spirit to crave these in future, you can become the morning star and explode as the morning star. That is one of my most profound encounters, where I feel the full power of the resurrection body. When I do that, and the full creative function, when I'm creating even truth. I'm not talking about, creating a planet or an animal. I'm talking about creating a new culture, new truths in our Earth timeline that really need to bring mankind to a higher consciousness. The rod of light is massive for me. I am the rod, and I illuminate across the universe, but you can start with the earth. Light such that truth is exposed, justice is exposed, injustice is exposed. That's a huge desire in me, because I kind of see these are the first stages. We as a species, we can't function in all these other creative things with any real meaning yet, when there's such corruption in our timeline. It's kind of like, I just feel heaven going, yes, okay, you can spend some time learning about creating an animal and things, but think of the suffering of man. We must care about the suffering of man here. This can't be just a journey of fun. If it's only about fun and only about you, what your journey is, and how you might just be a little child, irrelevant, unaware of anything in the world, there's times when we have to really be mature, and not do our journey, balance our journey. Sometimes we want to forget about the problems of the world and go into these immense encounters, which are beautiful to show who we are, and also to cause our body to function at a higher level and not decay. And that's very, very important. But equally, to use the light to expose the darkness. But also darkness, remember, is mysteries. It's not just evil. So we can use this to expose all these mysteries that cause people to function in a higher journey and engage some of these higher ages. There's also a realm of light I've seen. It's just like a white cube of light. And I had this, one of my first encounters, when years and years ago when I started, I saw these cubes, and it's just incredible. All you see is light and nothing else. And it's like I think it performs the function of what a med bed might do, where it really just restores everything. I'm just checking my notes. Hang on. Fountain of light. When you become the many rivers, and you can become a light fountain. It's like a firework, a sparkler. You're a sparkler. And that's a really ecstatic kind of encounter. And also then a bit higher on, Moses' encounter, where God was light, and Moses was only allowed to see the back of God, and he had to hide in the rock. That's an incredible thing. I really feel many need to crave that encounter. And if there's some reason you're not craving light encounters, begin to just see if there's any junk there that just needs dealing with. Maybe you're more comfortable in the darkness, maybe you don't want all your junk exposed. So you're actually avoiding this kind of thing. Maybe it's so intense that the relationship with God that you don't you won't allow him to come to you in that form. You're saying, no, he can only come in this form or that form. Oh, and also there is a passage in the end the end of Revelation, the holiness, we call it the holiness city, where God is described as lightning coming out of God. So again, you being lightning and the lightning rod is another key part to journey through. And if you're not craving that encounter in the holiness city, you've just been once and then you've moved on, there may be something wrong there, that you're actually blocking your holiness journey. Because I think it's such a connection between light and holiness. Yeah, that's just coming to me from Revelation as well. So I can see quite a few stumbling blocks with it for this rising in people that may have stopped them going to this sort of age.
We're just about at 30 minutes, Jane. I wanted to, as you were talking, I wanted to mention that I'm seeing that it can be an emotional blockage, unwillingness or the inability to flow or to go in this, because what I was seeing in my spirit was a brick wall. You were talking about lightning, and I was tossing lightning bolts at this brick wall in an effort to tear this thing down. I think that's probably internal to me, as opposed to, but if it's my issue, it's probably other people that have the same issue, and it may be a guy thing. I don't know. But anyway, I think there is a connection between freedom, emotional freedom, and freedom to flow and function as light.
Yes, I really see that. I think there's definitely people who struggle with their emotion gate are probably going to steer away from this, even subconsciously. It may not be like you're just going, no way am I going there, but subconsciously you're blocking, so you don't even remember, desire, crave it, or have those encounters, because you've subconsciously blocked it. So don't always assume that God is only leading you to what he's showing you is everything, the full thing of everything he wants for you. And if he hasn't shown you it, well, obviously he can't want it for you. It actually works the other way around. You subconsciously block things he can't get through to you. And once you see that, you begin to open your gates more and crave more, rather than wait and wait and wait till this encounter appears somehow.
Exactly.
And it may never appear.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. It won't appear unless you let it appear. My sense is that you can make some decisions along the way during your lifetime where you make decisions about not letting your emotions get out of control, kind of thing, that will inhibit flow and will inhibit functioning as light fully. And my sense is you actually need to go back and undo the choice that you made. You may not even remember having made that choice, and it may not even been a conscious choice. It may just been a reaction to a situation that was emotionally overcharged and too much to handle, that you made a decision to shut down emotionally, subconsciously, and it needs to be that decision needs to be undone. It needs to be traded out of. I can see that could be a potential need. Okay. Anything else you want to add at this point, Jane, before we finish up?
No, I think that's good. Just we'd like to just change the culture here, where people feel free to comment in the comments and ask questions as we go along. And we would like to make it interactive and welcome you and everything. So please do that. Sometimes we get in the flow of dialogue between us and we don't look, but we really would like to connect and hear your feedback and questions in future ones.
Yeah.
And also we've got a an intensive that operates every 2 weeks that you can join at any point in time.
Right.
And even if you can't make the actual meeting, you can still join and follow the recordings and ask questions and find a family and a community there. So that there's a link on the homepage for that. And we do invite you. The best way to keep getting hunger and desire is to be in daily chats that stimulate you to sow seeds and water seeds, such that you get a hunger for this, and you move away from, oh, I just attend a weekly meeting and then, you know, I don't really walk with God in between that. I wait for the meeting, to walking 24/7 in with God and with Yod He Vav He. It's a completely different ball game when you do that. And then you had such a hunger for so many different ways to operate. You're not overwhelmed. But I think we've got a culture that's a lot more doing it still in the old wineskin way. And I do think actually it's quite a blessing, Facebook and things, because I think it has developed more of a daily discipling culture, people looking for things that stimulates their spiritual hunger. Yeah, I've just seen that. And those that are growing the quickest are those that do this on a daily basis and use the body and use the family. Yeah, so just bless you guys, love you, and we really do care about your journey. We give our lives to your journey, to the growth of the universal ecclesia. That is the purpose of this house, is to raise sons, to build a full house that really has the full understanding of the full journey and the flow through the ages, and also gets you operating fully in some of these functions in benches. So if you're not in a bench, I really encourage you to look at our bench section on the website, see why we view it as so fundamental, and how you can be on this amazing journey right now of doing some of the most profound encounters you've ever imagined through a bench without you even understanding some of these higher concepts. You're missing out if you're waiting a couple of years to get all this information behind you and then you join one. You've actually missed out the joy of that, but also the acceleration that comes when you're with other people, plus the family and the community.
Yeah.
And we can help you as well if you have a bench and it's not listed anywhere or with any house, and you're not getting the advantage of a platform advertising your bench. We can do that for you as well, so that you can assist more and more people getting into benches. Because we've got the issue really where there's we need more people to learn how to run a bench, and until you've been on a bench you can't really learn to run one. So we have to get more and more people involved with benches to get that confidence. Okay, shall we finish there?
Yes, very good. Thank you, Jane. Thank you, everybody. We're going to turn the recording off at this point. And